Greetings and salutations. I'm Tammy Dunbar, and I am honored to be with you today to speak with all you distinguished educators about celebrating with your learners. As STEM educators, I'm sure you have maker spaces. In this particular one in my classroom, students were invited to create a recyclabot, recycling all kinds of old items and equipment into a recyclabot. I want to draw your attention to the sad little purple recyclabot on the far left. Just a sad, simple little purple clown. I'm going to come back to that at the end, but I want you to remember that when we get to the end. SEL is important for students because school and life is an emotional roller coaster with ups and downs, and students need to learn how to navigate those treacherous curves. At the beginning of the school year, we are all ready to go and excited and organized, but by the end, we are quite tired. Well, students feel that way as well, and we need to make sure that we minister to their needs so that they are in a good headspace in order to learn. I'm sure my other distinguished presenters have already talked about the benefits of social emotional learning, not only for a student's career in school, but also for their careers in vocations after education, and of course with their families as well. I have always believed in the message of Rita Pierson. If you have not seen her TED Talk, I highly recommend it to you. Rita says that human connection is key. To have good social emotional learning for our students, it's not a lesson plan, it's connection. It's us making sure that we build those relationships with our students. One thing that gives students confidence is structure and organization in a teacher's lessons. Let me tell you how to do that. In order for students to feel comfortable in their lessons, they need to know exactly what is expected of them. So it is our job to give them that information in as many ways as possible. You can see here that I not only post what I expect of my students, but I have calendars and visual guides to help them all reach success. Students know my expectations from day one. I've organized many graphics and visuals so they know when to be and where to be for each lesson. This provides a calmness to the students so they can focus on their lessons and not where they're supposed to be. I use PowerPoint and Canva to create clear, vibrant visuals for families and students that give them exactly the information they need and no more, so it's easy to read, easy to see, easy to comprehend. At the beginning of the school year, we host trainings for families and students in educational technology. When they are confident in the technology they use, then they are going to be in a much better place to learn and to grasp the concepts that we're trying to teach them. We also need to cultivate and model social emotional learning, and let me show you what that looks like in a classroom. My lesson plans are organized in a PowerPoint every day, so I can project up on the screen to let students know what's expected of them every moment of the day. I also start my day, as you can see, with a welcoming, with a song, with a thought for the day, with some puzzlers, with a lot of things that welcome them in, build community, and make them feel comfortable being where they are. You can see throughout the lesson, throughout the day, we have language arts, math, science, and social studies lessons directly in from the curriculum. And then at the end of the day, we have to remember to end it well. So I read to my students. I always thank them for their flexibility, their resilience. I'm grateful and I'm thankful for their grace. And then at the very end, we take about 5 minutes to do a meditation reflection with very quiet music as I talk them through the trials of the day and how to leave that behind us so that tomorrow we start fresh. One of the most popular things I do is thoughts for the day. I don't know a teacher alive who can't take a good quote or two and put it together to share a life lesson with students. Imagine what that does to their well-being. Students love to share their own thoughts for the day after they've heard mine for so long, and I'm always excited when I see the wonderful things and inspirational ideas they come up with. I'm also quite fond of sharing puzzlers because it gets the mind going, but it also puts the students in a good place mentally to start the learning. Why should I scare them right away with a quiz or something that's going to put a block in their mind? I want them to be in a comfortable place to learn, and puzzlers are a perfect thing to add to your day to allow students to find that mental freeness. And if students approach you and they want to create their own puzzlers to share with the class, let them. What wonderful things it does to students when they share their genius. Why are frogs so happy? Because they eat whatever bugs them. This is one that one of my students put together for the class, and he felt so proud of himself, and he also showed the class how he did it. Imagine what confidence builder that is for a student. Come up with wonderful ideas for paragraphs of the week. Make them relevant to students. Give them an opportunity to share their opinions through paragraphs of the week. By asking their opinions on something, it makes it a lot easier for them to write. And isn't the goal for them to write? So let's provide them with prompts that are meaningful and allow them to express how they're feeling. And of course, to build that community and to build those relationships, we need to check in on our students. How can you do that? Let me show you some ways. If you use Microsoft products, the Reflect app in Teams is a marvelous way to check in with your students and use the feeling monsters to find out how they are feeling that day. You can take a quick poll and get a really quick reading. Flipgrid, rebranded as the new Microsoft Flip, is a wonderful website or app on your phone for students to use. They can record messages and you can assign them such things as, how are you feeling today? When you record a message, you can see the student, you can hear the student, and when they do it at home, there's a little bit more privacy there, so they're more apt to share some of their feelings more honestly with you. And don't forget to reach out and praise your students. You can use an app like this one in Microsoft Teams, or you can simply reach out in chat or email and let them know they're doing a great job, or let them know you've seen them struggling and have improved and how proud you are of them. They love those, and it means a great deal to your students. As I mentioned earlier, SEL is not a single lesson. It must be woven throughout your day. Let me give you some examples of how to do that. One of my favorite activities is to assign students a flip asking them, who are you and what's in your bag? This allows them to tell me how to pronounce their name correctly. This is a very important thing with students. You do not want to get their names wrong. Their name is important and valuable and meaningful. So find out how to say it correctly and then continue to use the correct pronunciation. Flip is the perfect venue for students to show their creativity and share with you how to pronounce their name and what things represent them. Gives you a lot of insight into a student. Using technology to enhance assignments also gets students engaged and elevates the lessons and makes them feel better about the lessons. So why not integrate technology with language arts? Or with mathematics. It's very easy to take a lesson and adapt it using technology. In this case, we use PowerPoint and Minecraft. Allowing students to use breakout rooms to do breakout EDU is exciting, community building, and wonderful for their well-being. They enjoy it. You can align it to lessons. I highly recommend trying breakoutedu.com. When you cultivate a culture of social emotional learning in your classroom, students turn their eyes outward to the world and are very enthusiastic to join in global projects that reach out, as this one did, to 37 countries. It was called Human Differences, which I did with my friend Koen Timmins in Belgium. And students loved talking about what what differences are there between us? Why do we build walls between us? And how can we tear them down so we can work together worldwide? Cultivate World Literacy was a project I did with my friend Julie Hembry in the state of Washington. We had 137 classrooms from 6 continents, all talking about literacy in our countries, how we can raise literacy rates in our country, and what can we do to help other people raise their literacy rates. It was a fascinating study, and all students love sharing their information with each other. It was a wonderful way to bring everyone together. If you need resources, go to facebook.com and search SEL in EDU. There are tens of thousands of educators on this site sharing lesson plans, sharing breakouts, sharing ideas, and putting forth many global projects that you might like to be a part of. As a teacher at our online academy in Manteca, California, I love using backgrounds for many purposes. In this case, I love showcasing student work. I take student work, post it onto this Facebook page with a fake background, and then use it as my background. You can see in the center it's open, so I won't cover any student work. How great do students feel when they see their work on the walls of a classroom? This is something I can recreate virtually. Then I realized how effective backgrounds were. And when students caught me making a mistake, sometimes in spelling, sometimes in a mathematical calculation, their reward was choosing my background for the day. Not only was this enjoyable for the students, but every morning when a new background was behind me, I gave the student the opportunity to tell the other students where they had gotten the source, how they created the background, and they took questions from students. How wonderful did students feel when they were able to catch me in a mistake, but then get the reward of choosing my background and sharing that with the class? We cannot be afraid to make mistakes. We must be confident when we make mistakes and model for our students how to learn from mistakes and then move on from them. Remember the recyclobots I showed you earlier? Well, this was a wonderful activity for STEAM in which students created their own recyclobots from used materials. They had 90 minutes and they worked in table groups. When we were all done, students had to present. And of course, you can see here, we had some marvelous, marvelous specimens. But that sad little purple clown on the far left, I saved for the very end. And when that group got up to present, I said, well, tell us about your recyclobot. And they said, well, we argued a lot and we couldn't agree on anything. And we were kind of mean to each other. And then we only had 10 minutes left. So we just kind of threw some stuff on there really, really fast. And that's kind of what happened. And I said, that's okay. Things happen sometimes like that. Did you learn anything? And my students replied, yes. We learned that it's a waste of time to argue. If we have attended to our students' social emotional learning, if we have built those relationships, if we have given them the courage to fail and move on, if we have modeled for them how to make a mistake, figure it out, and stick with it, then we have given our students the tools they need to be successful in life. And it all starts with relationships. I live in a very agricultural part of California, and we say that the best fertilizer is the footsteps of the farmer. What that means is we educators must be active in how we build relationships with our students, how we model for our students. We have to be with them and working for them to ensure their growth and success. So we build relationships by laughing together, by creating and sharing awesome moments with each other, by not minding looking silly once in a while and making it okay to bring joy back into education. When we have accomplished all of these things, then we will have attended to our students' social emotional learning needs, and we will have built relationships that last a lifetime, and we will have shared with our students the importance of building relationships in schools, in communities, in their families. What more could our students learn if we were fearless? My humble thanks to my good friend and fellow Fulbrighter, Tabot Fondia, for allowing me to present this to you today. I leave you with a QR code that will lead you to a wakelet of resources from my Fulbright talk on the same topic. And again, my best wishes for all educators here today. Thank you for allowing me to be with you. Peace and blessings upon all of you. Hugs and health. Thank you.